Hey guys, welcome to PZTV. I am your host, Clay Banks, and the Performance Zone TV is all about me bringing in interesting industry professionals specializing in the entertainment industry to meet them and talk with them, to unpack all the insights, tactics, tricks, and techniques that they use to help them become the powerhouses that they are. Now, today on PZTV, I have a very special guest, a guest that is very, very multi-talented. My guest is Annette Dominguez O'Hare. And Annette is a businesswoman. She is a talent. She's also a talent scout, a spokeswoman, and a philanthropist. And there's so many other cool things that she does, but you don't want to listen to me discuss this. So let me introduce you to Annette. Annette, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many of your shows and I've known you now for a while. And I think this is amazing that you're doing this and you're providing so much access to so much information and insider views.
Well, thanks for the kind words. Appreciate that. But it's been a little bit of time in the making to get you here. And then we had obviously the big C from last year. And now you're finally here. And I want to thank you for coming in. And I'm just really excited to talk to you because, I mean, we get guests that do finances for actors and artists. And we get people that you're right dead smack down the line in the entertainment industry. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with you. You do so much stuff.
Yes, I love what I do. I'm very blessed to be able to work with basically inspirational talent every single day. And I have the opportunity to book them on work and to get their messages out there, particularly with the influencers. And I also consult talent in Europe and all across the United States, aside from being the agency director for Naturalistic Fit agency and working with athletes. So I wear two hats.
So would you say that you're a talent consultant, management? Where are you?
So on the model consultant hat, I consult talent. So it could be a photographer. It can be somebody who wants to get into the industry, a makeup artist. I started off doing it primarily with commercial actors and models, and then it kind of veered into all talent of every realm where I had one that was a magician and, different people who want to basically up their game in media. So I look at my consultations are 90 minutes and I basically ask them some questions. I go in stone cold. I don't look at photos or anything first. I ask them a lot of questions and, I would say probably 90% of the time I'm going to steer them in a direction that they never even thought of. So it's a lot of fun because I'm able to see who they are and how they can fit into the industry. And a lot of them are going down basically a path that has very little that would be very difficult for them to succeed in. Like if I have a 5'4" girl who says, I want to be a runway model or I want to be on the cover of Vogue. And that's my dream. I think it's probably the dream of a lot of girls, right? So I say, well, you're 5'4". It's not, there's not a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to happen right now.
Exactly. And then I'll ask them questions about commercials or about behind the scenes, what they like to do. I had a girl in Ireland who was a pageant winner. She was very short and she wanted to be a model. And turns out she had been studying journalism in school. And I said, have you ever thought about being a host? It never even dawned on her. And I said, you're so personable and you're so, charismatic. And she loved to ask a lot of questions. So I gave her a direction that she never even thought of. So I like that. I like to strategically help talent with their career plans.
So you were working with the model consultant, and you did that for what, 6 years or so?
Actually, I did it privately for probably 10 years. I was known for doing it for my friends and friends of friends, just because I would see somebody and it's hard to get me to shut up. So I would be like, oh, she's over there and she's doing this, but I really think she would be good at this. And I just opened my big mouth and just give them advice. And then it kind of turned into the opportunity where, as a mother of three, my youngest child, my daughter, was going to enter first grade. So for kindergarten, they're only in school for 3 hours, but first grade, they're at school probably 7, I think. So I thought, okay, good. I can go from being the talent side, booking commercials and hosting jobs in print, and I can actually make my consulting, which I was doing privately, public. And I spent a summer and I launched the Model Consultant website only on Facebook. No paid ads, no anything. It was strictly word of mouth. And within, I would say 6 weeks, I was in 7 states. It just like skyrocketed.
That's awesome.
And I was helping and booking consultations and just loving it.
That was out of Chicago? Where was that?
No, that was here in LA, but the states were, like, one of them was Chicago. They were, it was basically all over. And
so you're in Illinois, you were in Texas. Were you in Texas yet?
No.
Not yet?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't. I consulted a girl within, I believe, those first 6 weeks in Chicago named Michelle, who was a fitness, really buff, beautiful girl. And I had never been in that arena, so I didn't know, but I consulted her on what I thought the direction that she should go. And when I researched fitness agencies in Chicago, there weren't any. The closest one I could find was Naturally Fit Agency in Texas.
Right.
And,
there you go.
And so that's when I connected with them. Emily, the original director there, she was fantastic, and we just really clicked. And the owner, David, and I too, like, we just had a really great relationship. And I consulted for maybe a year after that until they asked me to open up their LA office. And so it kind of like, it went from doing something where I wanted to kind of expand because my youngest child was going into first grade and perhaps open up a consulting business during school hours, which it was not during school hours. It was like nights, weekends. It just kind of blew up, but it was a blessing. To a year into it, being asked to open up an agency in LA.
And that's Naturally Fit.
Yeah.
And now you head Naturally Fit Los Angeles. 4
years later, I built the Los Angeles agency to be pretty big in LA, which is, the entertainment capital of the world, right? So we're in a city where there's a massive amount of competition, but we were able to build because we basically found our niche. And I also did it completely differently because I've been in the industry 25 years or more, actually. And so I worked with a lot of amazing agencies here. And I saw what they did right and what I would perhaps not do. Mm-hmm. And so when I started Naturally Fit LA, I thought, well, I'm starting from scratch. I can do it any way I want. And so I didn't like the way this agency did this or this or this. So I'm going to do it differently. And I also wanted talent that it was more about who they were as a human being and what they were doing to help others. I got a lot of eye rolls, thinking, well, you're in an aesthetic business where it's all about looks and cheekbones and all of that.
Why do you care about their heart and soul?
Yeah. And I was like, nope, I'm doing it this way. And a lot of that came from myself. I'm not the tallest or the skinniest or the prettiest or the most photogenic. I'm photogenic. I'm okay looking, I guess, and not great, but I'm not the best talent out there. But I did study for years. I studied Meisner. I studied, I went to, I don't know if you knew that. I studied with Richard Brander.
Oh, okay. So did you have a stint as an actor as well? I mean, you did. I know you do spokes and runway and all that, but did you act?
I did for a little bit. I wasn't Probably, I wasn't a great actor, I don't think. I loved it. I loved studying Meisner. I did it when I was 18 for a couple years.
Where did you study it?
Richard Brander, who
Where was that?
Studio City on Moore
Oh,
Park.
okay.
All
right.
He actually studied under Sandy.
Why do I get the feeling
Meisner.
you're from Chicago or something? What do you have to do with Chicago?
Well, because we opened up an office there.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Here.
Oh, you're
I'm
native.
from here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that straight.
Yeah, sorry.
So, no, that's not you. I just, for some reason, I always thought you were a Chicago girl.
Yeah. And then I went back to him when I was 30, because I had when I started acting, and probably a lot of people watching this may be able to relate. I loved it. It was in my heart and soul. I was 18, 19. This was in the 80s, the late 80s. So it was a very different industry then, but I loved it. I did some really fun things like John Hughes, and I worked with, I did some commercials and just some fun things. But I looked at my friends who were older in the industry, and I saw that it's a struggle. Like you have to, it's ups and downs. And at that point, I don't know if you've guessed, I'm a type A personality.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I was like, I need something more steady that I'm in control of. So, and I was just so young. And so I went into business, and I became a sales and marketing manager, and for 10 years. And so that experience in my 20s has really been a godsend for me, being an agency director, and really pulling from my 25 plus years of experience to do it differently.
Let's talk about the agency from, say, the actor's perspective. A lot of actors listening, I mean, they either don't have representation or they want new representation. It's always down to who's going to get me out, how can I get work, that kind of thing. How many people do you represent generally about?
Oh, goodness. So there's over 200 in the LA agency.
And that's well, we're going to get the influencers in a little bit, but that's athletic talent.
Mostly athletic. We do have a handful of actors that are not necessarily viewed as athletic, but the majority, I would say 90% athletic, about 200 out of the LA office.
And you have Olympians, you've got pro athletes, you've got
Yes.
a mix of just people with great physiques that are very athletic.
Yes, and that was the difference when I started it, is I didn't want to rep models with abs and nice butts. I came from the commercial world where I have a very deep respect for the craft. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking at the models and said, I don't want to be a modeling agency for fitness people. I want to work with athletes that have stories. So athletes that have and boy, do they have stories of inspiration, that have overcome challenges to succeed in their field. So within 3 months, we were signing pro athletes, and our first one was an NFL guy. Still rep him. I just talked to him on the phone about 30 minutes ago, actually. And then word got around, and they started telling their pro athlete friends. And then, and I love that, because as a commercial actor, I always book the vanilla mom roles, right? When I came back when I was 30, I booked a ton as a mom. And so I think deep down inside, I was just really excited to be working with different people, like a diverse group that had these stories that I really respect. And so we got a lot of Olympians, world champions, and then it veered into adaptive. So our first adaptive athlete.
Adaptive being?
People who have had to adapt from challenges.
So that's the title now, adaptive.
We call it adaptive, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But Chelsea was our first, and she's a 2-time world champion gymnast for the Special Olympics, also was on the USA Olympic team, Down syndrome, and she was also on the cover of Teen Vogue. And her story is just absolutely inspiration. And so now we've developed our adaptive group, where we have a cerebral palsy runner who's amazing. We have a spinal bifida athlete.
Wow.
We have
okay.
I just love stories.
And where do you put these guys to work? How does that work? Who's looking for them?
Well, think about America now. So it's not me. It's not the casting directors. We're a result of what America is asking for. So America is a country of diversity, right? And the public wants commercials that reflect. So instead of having the normal commercial mom like I was for years, right? They want moms and talent that reflect them. And so, and there's so much diversity and stories and people who don't look like the traditional model or actor, but they want to be represented. And so I've always fought for that before it was like the buzzword. And so diversity is something that we've always emphasized and always even nudged casting directors. And when they've asked for athletes, gymnasts, we're like, sure, we have Chelsea. She's Down syndrome. How about her? And we just submit. So even if it doesn't ask for diversity or adaptive and they want a gymnast, we will submit.
So you're getting the breakdowns.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
You're getting the breakdowns. Do you deal directly with clients, companies, businesses that they look on your site? Your site's amazing, by the way. I mean,
Thank
just
you.
the photography, the pictures, it's really great. So if they go there and they go, oh, I want this person to rep my company or my product or service,
Yes.
they will call and just say, hey, I want to see this person and people like them, that kind of deal, and you send them out?
We have a lot of, I call them direct accounts, and that's probably from my being a sales and marketing manager. We
Right.
always had direct accounts. So I refer to our companies and clients and casting directors also that reach out to us directly as direct accounts. And me being, again, the type A personality and submitting on LA Casting when we started, we were submitting our talent, and they were one of 5,000 on average. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, it wasn't that high when I was working as a commercial actor. And I don't know if I could even beat these odds. It's really tough. So my, thought process went to, I just want to go direct then. I want them to know that we're different and we're unique and we're not just about the aesthetic, and that we really care about this business. We care about human beings.
So they're getting quality people.
Exactly. And they're getting people, one of the things when I started talking about how when I worked, and I said I wasn't the tallest, the skinniest, whatever, but what I could control was I was the most professional by far on set.
Right.
I would go to sets and I would see talent on their phones or talking about their boyfriends or, oh, my skin is terrible because I didn't sleep enough last night. And I'm like, this is your job. Like, this is a blessing for you to be here. Why are you doing this? So I worked because it wasn't the aesthetic and it wasn't necessarily the talent, although I studied all the time. It was because I was just a regular human being. I was nice, I was helpful, and I was always professional and always prepared. And so that's what I emphasize with my consulting clients and with my talent, my athletes that are signed with the agency, is that if a casting director is going to bring in a bunch of soccer people to audition for a commercial, first of all, you're going to get a lot of actors like I was who said, well, I played soccer in 3rd grade. I can do it. I'm a jack of all trades. But my guys are the real soccer pros. So they're going to walk in. But if they're not trained actors, it's going to be difficult.
That's where I come in.
Exactly.
And I've been training some of your athletic talent. And
Yes.
I'll tell you what, you had one of your talent in here last night just blew the roof off of this building. Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Anthony Reagan's. Little plug out to Anthony. Anthony, we've got our eye on Anthony. He's getting ready to move into the next level class. He's disciplined athlete, business guy, great human being, terrific fella, integrous. And when he messes up, he's humorous about it. He doesn't fight back. He's just an awesome talent. And he's worked his ranks from not knowing anything about acting. I think I was his first acting coach in class. Yeah. And now the guy is in there knocking. He just did a commercial for you.
Yes. And when they booked him, I rarely get this. Like, we get bookings all the time, every day. But his booking, the casting director went on and on and on about how great he was and how excited they were. And then the production, because I was CC'd on everything, it's very rare that you'll have a production go on and on and on about, we're so excited to work with you and we're this and this. And it was just, it really stood out. And
it's who he is. It's his work ethic, it's his discipline, it's his intestinal fortitude.
Yeah.
He's here to do this.
Yes.
And there's nothing getting in his way. And that's the champion attitude that creates a career.
Yep.
Focused,
exactly.
Just on it. So yeah, we've been working with your people, and it's been exciting. It's fun because for me, athletes and teenagers are really my favorite people to coach because they're just hungry and they're there. There's not a lot of nonsense in the way.
Yeah.
And the athletes are used to being beaten up by coaches all their lives, so they understand the coach talent or athlete relationship. They get it.
They do. And I do explain that to them when I'll have like an NFL guy or somebody come in my office and say, well, I'm not trained, but I booked 4 commercials last year. And my response is always, well, maybe if you were trained, you would have booked 8. Think of that.
Look
Think
at
about
you.
That.
Come on.
So, I give it right back, and I explain that you may have booked 4, and that's great, but if you want this to be a career, you need to be trained.
It's beyond abs and butts.
Yeah, it's beyond abs and butts.
Right.
And I explain that, and I always say, so if I wanted to play football, and I'm like tossing a ball with my 11-year-old, and I say, God, I really like this. I think I'm gonna do it. Right?
Yeah.
And I go up to one of my NFL guys, hey, so let's play. They would laugh at me.
Right.
It's the same thing with acting. It's like,
yes.
They have to train.
That's the casting office. You see, I tell actors, I say, it's like a stock report on a very volatile company. The casting director sits there, talent comes in, and it's okay. Well, that was bad. Well, look at that. And you can see what's in front of you person after person. I mean, you can't fake that.
And it's within the first, when they walk in the door, there's an essence about them. So even, because I just took over the Texas office, and there's a lot of models there, and they say, well, I don't want to do commercials, I just want to do models or modeling. And I say, well, if you get trained, you'll walk through the door differently, and you'll hold yourself differently. You'll know how to slate. You'll know how to audition. Auditioning is a skill that not every actor has. And it was a skill that I wasn't good at when I was away from it. So if I was auditioning every day, it was great. I was booking, we were back in the day auditioning probably 3 times a day, right? And but when I had my third kid and I went to only doing direct bookings off of my reels, and I was primarily doing hosting and print, and I would direct book a lot. But when my agent would say, God, there's a huge job, and you need to go in, they need to see you, I would go in and I would bomb. Because I could do the direct bookings and show up on set and nail it every time. But auditioning is different. So I would walk in, and I wasn't used to walking into casting offices and having to prove myself. So I would walk in, and I remember this one casting director who booked me on a 6-year job, hosting job, big job. And I walked in, and her jaw, when I did the read, her jaw dropped. This is not Annette. This is not who I cast in this huge job, because I wasn't used to auditioning, so I was very bad at it. And so I tell my talent.
How'd you save that?
Oh, I didn't. I bombed it.
Oh, you bombed it.
I bombed
it.
Yeah, but she knew me from casting me in a big hosting job that lasted 6 years. It was very, a great job. And so I remember her jaw like this is not
That's not a good moment right there.
No, but I'm very honest about myself too. So I tell my talent that, guys, if you're not auditioning every day, acting, you have to hone your craft. You have to be
preaching it now
in class, and it's like an athlete. And I say, if you don't go to the gym for a month, do you feel the same as you did when you go every day? No. So I use that as an example.
Yeah, I work out at home. Let me tell you, I've been working out at home for almost a year now. It is not the same. I've lost so much muscle and weight. It's crazy. It's just not the same. You got to go to a professional environment.
Yeah.
We have another one of your talent, an NFL guy,
Yes.
you know, and he came in here and he crushed a 2-scene lead in a feature film audition. He just blasted it out. But see, he's smart because he actually flew his girlfriend out for the Valentine's Day weekend because they were going to spend some days together. She lives in Florida. And he gets this audition. He shuts it down. He turns it all off. You know his discipline. Yeah. He comes in here fully locked and loaded, has the lines, has the character, made his choices, and ordered a 2-hour private with me. It's a big job. Yeah. And I could show you the audition tape. Unbelievable. Just because of the discipline and the work that these guys do. And that's and then actors that are kind of doing all this kind of pansying around stuff, they're going up against these titans.
Yeah. They're going up against the best in the world.
Yes.
I don't want to go up against the best in the world unless I'm prepared.
You want to be the best.
I want to be the best. Yeah, exactly. So, but he also had a situation with a casting director. I don't remember when. I think I texted you when it happened 3-4 months ago, where the casting director, he's so great. He called me and said, "I just had one of your guys in here, and he was football, and I brought him in anyway, and I didn't really expect much, but boy, he nailed it. He's a real actor." And I was like, "Yeah, he is." And I told him about you, and he took your info to refer you.
Great.
Because casting directors are always looking for, like, when they see that gold and they see that delivery from somebody that's a football player that they didn't expect.
Wow,
much
look,
from.
he can act.
And they're
too.
like, "Oh my God, he's an actor, and he's great."
Yeah.
And I can tell you, and any agent in this town can tell you, those are rare. When casting directors only let you know when you book the job. They don't call an agent out of the blue
rarely.
and go, "Your guy nailed it. He's amazing." Yeah.
When I was studying as an actor back in the 90s and I was working, I was on a cop show for a few years as a series regular.
Oh.
Yeah, I played a detective. It was great. His show was
I can
called...
see you in that.
Yeah, L.A. Heat. Had more hair back then. I had less wrinkles. But anyway, I'm working on the show and I'm training twice a week with my coach. And put it together. I'm on a show. I'm training, and we had I remember this fella. His name is Michael Bailey Smith, I think. Michael Bailey. He came in from Dallas. He was a former Dallas Cowboy football player. This was in the 90s, and he came in, knew nothing about acting. I remember because I was just another actor in the class, I watched him get worked over by my coach. I mean, he just kept getting work, and he kept showing up and just getting pulverized because he's this locker room dude, and he stayed with it. Our show was casting a bad guy. We cast a lot of bad guys, but we cast a bad guy that needed to emotionally break down in the interrogation room. And it's really tough to find burly bad guys who have that sensitivity and that vulnerability. Well, Michael booked the job. And I watched how he got worked out because he was training all the time, breaking those walls down and making himself more available. So out of all the bad guys, the bad guy with the acting training gets the work.
Yeah. I love it.
Right?
And I loved class. It's like, it's a place where you feel safe, and it's a place where you can fall. And I don't think I've cried more than when I was in class and when I was 18, 19, and also 30s. It's a place where it gets real. And it's like, it's just an amazing feeling to have that as an actor. So I love that you have that here.
Yeah, and we work real hard to do that, to develop people so that they're more marketable for you. I mean, if you have someone you're sending out and is booking 10% of the time or booking 60% of the time, I mean, come on, it's business.
I have a girl who just booked 12 jobs in 5 weeks.
What does she owe that to?
Never have I seen that before.
She's just on a roll.
She is on a roll. Literally on a roll. She's a roller skater. Wow. Yeah, she's amazing.
Well, let me ask you this for the talent that is watching. What is it that works for you? Why you would take someone on? Why you wouldn't? And who's driving you nuts?
Thank you for those questions. Oh my gosh. So you want to start with
whichever one you want. Okay. You want to vent? Get out the nutsy one.
Oh, no, I want to vent. But so who I look for is somebody who isn't going to say, who isn't going to walk in the room and say, "Oh, I have to leave my agency because they're not doing anything for me.
Right.
And I'm looking for someone else. To me, that's a red flag. I want to know what you're doing for yourself because no manager, no agent is going to do more for you than you're going to do for yourself. And so are you in acting class? Do you have the right photos? Do you have the right videos? If I asked you to do a personality video, which is 60 seconds of a slate, right? It's like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I, this and this. And just to give the casting director a little bit about yourself, and they don't do it. It's like, okay, if you have all these opportunities, why haven't you done that? If you've been with 3 other agencies, where's your reel? Where's your resume? Where's your training? Where's your photos? Where's your, and for some reason, and you and I have been in this acting world for a long time, there's a trend where people think snapshots are headshots. And they're not going to quality photographers, and they're getting these, and they're sending them in. And I say, well, I need a headshot. Oh, I just did 30. And I'm like, not one of them is a headshot. Like, if you're in this industry and you don't know what the industry is or what it expects, don't waste my time. So I'm looking for somebody who's going to bring it and say, this is me, this is what I have to offer, and this is what I want to do, and I'm available. Because a lot of them will come in and it turns out they're actually not available for auditions. Or maybe they're just not interested, and maybe just their boyfriend said, oh, you're cute, you should do commercials.
And you say not available for auditions because of their life or their attitude?
No, maybe both, but some of them will have like a 9-to-5 job, and I'm talking primarily pre-COVID, and they're not. And then all of a sudden, we start getting them auditions. It's like, oh no, I have to.
Yeah,
I
right.
get. It's like, oh,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, so that's tough. But what I don't like is so I get hundreds of submissions on the agency side a month. Honestly, I don't look. And this is any agent.
Submissions to be repped. To be repped by you.
Any agency that's busy
Doesn't
and growing, they honestly don't have time, because I'm getting booking after booking and avails and requests and all of this. And I have 4 bookers. So we're busy. We're small, but we're busy. And I work around the clock. But I just lost my train of thought for a second.
That's okay. We're talking about who's working for you, not work discipline and ethic.
Oh, yes. So if you're getting somebody auditions, and we work off of commission. So I don't know if everybody out there knows that we only get paid when you get paid.
So is it 10, 20, 15? What's the percentage?
For SAG, it's 10.
10.
So any SAG commercials, it's 10. But the majority of what we do is non-union, which is a very high percent. At one time in here, I said 70, and I think I was wrong, but it's close. It feels like it's 80%. It may be 60. It may be 70%
of what?
Of the breakdowns are non-union.
Non-union.
Yeah. So it's a lot, and print is obviously non-union, and our influencer deals are obviously non. So for non-union, it's 20%. And print.
Okay, so you're making 10 or 20%, then the actor's making either 90 or 80%. They should be doing 90 or 80% of the work.
Well, they need to have themselves positioned to book the job when we present them with the opportunity.
They need to work.
Yeah. So am I going to want to work with somebody who I have to ask them 10 times to get a headshot? It's like, no, because I'm doing that work for free.
So then do you drop them?
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
So I mean, what I'm hearing is you being responsible, be a business person, know what you're doing, be in your game, be ready to go, because I'm going to work for you. So what is it that totally drives you crazy?
If I bring someone in, because I normally work off of referrals from casting directors or from you or from, anybody in the industry that I respect or my talent, I will 100% look. And it takes about 10 seconds, because I'll scroll and look, and I'll look at their Instagram. But if somebody writes me a book and it's this long and says, oh, I eat right and I'm fit and I'm healthy, and they write this whole book, I'm not even going to look, and I'm instinctively going to think that maybe maybe they're going to be a lot of work.
What do you look for on the Instagram when you look at the Instagram?
I want to see real. I want to see their brand, and they are brand. It's basically an extension of your resume. So I don't want to see your family necessarily on every post. I don't want to see your pets and your food and your whatever, unless that's part of your brand, of course. But I want to see who you are as a human being. But I also want it to be presented in a way that if a casting director or producer sees it, they're going to book you. Because I would say 99% of the time, they're looking at your Instagram before they book you.
They're looking at the grid, the story, or all of both?
You instantly get a feel when you
grid.
look at somebody's Instagram, and I'll like scroll, and I'll get a good feel. But when I bring them in, if I say, have you done your research on our agency? And what do you think of the website?
And they know nothing. It's insulting.
I say leave, and you're welcome to resubmit again. I won't even
good
continue
for you.
it.
I love that.
Because why would I waste my time with somebody who doesn't have I don't even know what the word is. I have a word, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
To look at the website of the company that they're interviewing for. It's just the audacity is astounding. So I do your research not only on me, but on all the agencies out there. I want to know
the research period on what the shows, the projects, find out whatever you can.
Everything.
Yeah.
And the knowledge now, like back in the day, like we had to go to Samuel French and we had to read the trades and, Backstage West, right? And the other ones, but
which is now Backstage.
Right. But it's not funny. But do your research. It's at your fingertips. Google. I mean, it takes 5 minutes. Come on. But know why you're walking into my agency. If you're a model without an athletic ability and you're not an actor, like we're not the agency for you. Go to a modeling agency. We want skills. We want people who aren't going to pretend to do soccer. They actually do it.
That's what I tell. I said, look, if it's under your special skills, you better be special at doing it. We don't want to know that you jumped rope once. It's really funny because a guy came in here and I asked him what his special skills are. He says, well, I can jump rope and do a backflip. And I'm like, yeah, like where does that come in? He goes, well, I was with Cirque du Soleil for years. I said to him right here, I said, let me see you do it. Before I could finish the sentence, he was up in the air, back on his feet and said, just picture it with a jump rope. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's a special skill.
He's the real deal. And that's what we want. Yeah, exactly.
So if you ever need a jump rope guy who can do a backflip, I got him.
We do have some Cirque.
Oh, yeah.
And
good.
Contortionists and such too. Yeah. But we've also had a couple girls claim to be contortionists and then they get the audition for contortionist and then they say, oh, but I'm not. And I was like, why did you check it?
Yeah,
why
really?
Is it
Why'd you check the box? It's crazy.
And a lot of them do it and they'll check languages. And then say, oh, I can't go in. I'm really not fluent. I'm like, why did you check it?
Yeah, right.
And that happens all the time.
That's the crazy stuff, people. Don't do that stuff. Okay, let's do this. You have a division, the influencers division, which is new. It's really exciting. Let's just jump into that. Talk about that.
Oh my goodness.
What's the difference between your influencer division and say your other talent or your other athletic division?
Okay, so when I mentioned earlier that I had a 10-year stint as a sales and marketing director or
we're very similar in that sense. I was a business coach for a Fortune 500 company for 10 years.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah. So we got a lot of similarities in that sense.
It really comes into play in
I
this
tell
industry.
people I wasn't the tallest, sharpest. I didn't have the model good looks. I just would work and I handled my business right.
Yeah, it's the business
Got
side.
the career.
Yeah. So it's that experience, that hardcore marketing experience, old school, right? That was able to, once I wrapped my head around what was going on with the influencer world, because like every other agency, we put up an influencer board and we had a few and we thought, great, they're going to come. Like we're going to book them on stuff. And I did that for a while. And I realized that is not the way the influencer world works as far as an agency. So it was my marketing experience, wrapping that around what was happening with the influencers getting the inbounds on Instagram through their DMs, that I was able to really create a division, an agency that was different than any other influencer agency in the world. And so we specialize in stories, because again, it's all about stories, right? With the actors, with the models, with the athletes, everything. It's about the story. So I really honed in on working with influencers who utilize their voice to help make the world better and to help others. If they're just utilizing their voice to show off their butt or their like great abs or their like really nice Lamborghini, or it's a girl with like long legs that's getting out of the Lamborghini going into a private jet and going, look at my purse.
Seen that a bunch, right?
Yeah. You've seen it, right? So I don't like that. So I want influencers who are really sharing a story about overcoming challenges, about talking about what happened in their life to help them overcome. Like I have a guy, Rafe Darazi, who is a HIV positive awareness activist. And he talks about that. And he talks about it from his heart and soul. And it's the purest, most wonderful, beautiful thing you've ever seen. And he, talks and helps and has a sincere desire to help people who are in the position he was in when he got the news. And then I have somebody who lost 200 pounds who talks about that. And I have...
And they get booked for things to talk about this?
Yes. Well, it's their brand. I never want to work with an influencer who's going to fake a brand because they think it's what the public wants.
So where does the influencer, like, how do you benefit, and how does the influencer benefit by working? Because to me, what I know about the influencing world is that you've built a following for one reason or the other, whatever. It could be abs and butts,
yes,
which is a lot of that, of course. But you've built a following for some reason, and then if they talk about your product, it's a great commercial ad. So products or services would work with that influencer. Where do you come in?
So what I do is
was I correct, right? Yeah, okay.
I negotiate it. And that's one thing I found out when I first started the influencer division and I was waiting around and trying to force the matches. It does not work. My influencers connect with brands on Instagram or TikTok. And once they get the DM conversation going, they say, email me the details. And once the brand emails them, they say, sounds great, really looking forward to working with you. I only do paid collaborations, and here's my agent. Her name is Annette. She's really cool, really easy to work with. Like, they say something nice, because when they think of agent, they like, their heart stops and they go, oh, I don't want to work with an agent. Right. So once and then my job is basically to get them on the phone, which in this day and age nobody gets on the phone. So that automatically sets us apart. So once I get them on the phone and they see that I'm a normal person, and I talk to them about my influencer's brand and why they would be great or whatever it is. And maybe they're not even a good fit. And I'm going to tell them that too. Like, if they reach out to somebody that is a female that they want to do like athletic wear with, and they have 90% male following, not a good choice. Right. So I'm going to say, well, you know that most of their followers are male. So I'm very honest, and I don't do it as a transactional agency where a lot of agencies look at this space as, I'm going to say, okay, my influencer rate is 1,000. Here's the invoice. Okay, she did the collab. Goodbye. No, I'm very involved in the marketing of it, which comes into play my marketing experience. So I dive deep into what the brand target demographic is. And then my job is to match them with influencers who hit that target demographic exactly.
Okay, if I'm an influencer and I've got 100,000 followers out there, and I know I can hawk products and make money, what I want to understand is, why would I bring in someone like you if I could do it on my own?
Well, even if you're the best negotiator in the world, you should never be negotiating for yourself, because you're going to cut yourself short. Even me being a really good negotiator, when I did my best six-year hosting job contract, I had my agent do it, but I told her what to say and do.
Right.
But it wasn't me. So how can an influencer say, well, I'm not worth 500, I'm worth 2,500, and it's because I'm the best and I'm this? It sounds weird, right? But if I say it and I say, well, they're an author and they're a known personality and they're this and that, I can say it, I can pitch it, I can do it. I've worked with a lot of influencers where I immediately tripled their rates overnight.
There you go.
Negotiating is my happy place.
There you go. Oh,
it's
good.
where I live and where I love, but I do it not just to get the influencer the biggest rate. It's very important to me that it's fair, and that the brand is going to have a successful campaign. So I look at both sides, which is not normal.
Let's do a little role play, just for fun. Okay. I've got an acting studio. Okay. And I want, obviously, more actors to come here and study and train. And I go, I think if I get an influencer out there that is right for me, they could probably help bring in. I want to do a commercial that way. I call you and I go, Annette, hi, I'm Coach Clay Banks. I own and operate Clay Banks on-camera acting studio in Hollywood, and I want an influencer to talk about my studio. Help me? What do I do? Do you have somebody?
Yeah. So it would need to be an actor who has a lot of actor friends who are up and coming. But if you're coming to me, I'm going to vet them. If you're doing it on your own, which I wanted to mention during this, there's an enormous amount of fraud in this industry. Mm-hmm. So if you look at somebody with X amount of followers, even X amount of comments and likes, that can all be bought. And sometimes it won't even come up on the sites where you put in the handle. So the first thing you would do is go through somebody legitimate like me, who is going to vet them and going to make sure that it's legit. And I would look for an influencer, and I don't even know if I have them. I'm sure I do, specifically for you, with that audience of actors living in this area, because it's not going to do you any good if your brand is only here and you have an influencer shout about it and most of their following is in Orange County.
But unless with Zoom. With Zoom, I've got international clients.
You're right.
I can get them. I want them anywhere in the world.
That's
Come
true.
on.
Okay. Yes. We're living in COVID times.
Yes.
So, yes. So then essentially it would be anybody, even international.
Okay. So let's say you have one. You've got one.
Yes.
We'll just make them up.
Yes.
You've got one. Perfect. How many followers would qualify somebody that I would be paying for? 100,000, 500,000, million, 10, I don't know what.
It depends. I have, I'm finding with my brands and with my recent collaborations over the last 2 months, the sweet spot seems to be between 60 and 80,000 followers. It's low.
Isn't that like, there's a
micro
influencer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but they have, if they're that small, or even 20,000, and they have a 20% engagement rate.
The engagement.
It's huge. And when you get up with the ones that are, 500,000 or a million, a lot of mine are, as far as I know, legit, right? And they're great, and they have engagement, and they do very, very well. But more and more brands are looking for the smaller ones to get the even higher, the 20%.
So what will they do for me? How will they do it, and what do I pay?
They would do a post and a few stories with a swipe up to be able to go immediately. More and more brands are more interested in doing stories over post now, because a post, you have an extra step where they have to go to your profile link and click
Oh,
it.
that's so much work.
It's a lot of work.
Isn't that? It's the moving the finger these days.
Thing.
Come on.
I know. But with stories, you swipe up and you're there. and you're with you.
But it only lasts a day, right? A story?
It lasts a day, but a lot of times what we'll do is we'll do a highlight. And so it'll be in the contract where the influencer has to keep the highlight up for X amount, 3 months, whatever it is.
And what's that going to cost me?
It depends. See, I like to package. I like to bundle. And so for my packages, I start them usually at $7,000, and I'll package as many influencers as possible. If you only wanted one, it would depend. It would be anywhere from 500 to probably 2,000, just depending on who the person is, what their name is. I have a lot of known fitness experts that are authors, or they do morning television segments or such. So their prices are higher because they're going to be featured on the company on the brand website, and it's going to lend a name of like, oh, I've seen him on Good Morning America, or oh, I've seen her book, and that comes into play with cost. So there's each cost of each individual influencer is very, very specific.
So what would be like the out of control pricey person? They have several million followers with high engagement, and if they mention your name, you're going to have to pay them like what? I mean,
we do have a star list that is not on our website. Household names, big stars, and the rates start from 5,000 and up. Some of them are priced at even 10 grand for a post.
What do you get for that?
A post.
You get a post. I'm in the wrong business.
But these are household names that, right. I mean, big stars. So,
right.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, it's an industry that we've doubled since COVID. So our agency has doubled since then because I put all my focus on that when production was shut down. So our influencer agency, I would say it's probably one of the strongest in the world. And I've been told I have the best health, wellness, and fit list in the world. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm more like a proud mom.
Yeah, well, I mean, your site looks great.
I have the best.
It looks great. I mean, when you look at your brand looks terrific. So it's there, and you should be proud of that. You know, Annette, this is fascinating. We ate up almost an hour already. Okay, and I don't know. I think I'd like to call you back to hang out with you a little bit more at another show. Maybe we can just do a specialized thing on the influencers.
If we did something on influencers, it's such a huge world. And it is the future. So there's many. I could talk for hours about it.
Love to have you back to do that.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. Let's do this because we're getting ready to wrap up our time here. I ask all my guests this question, and I'm really looking forward to your answer.
Oh no.
Okay, it's the same question on all the episodes. Do you know the question that's coming?
Okay, so I've seen several of your episodes, and I remember at the end you asking a question, but I can't remember.
Here we go. I'm going to give you the question.
Be like,
okay, now here it is. We are in a world now where you're going to be gifted one post, and every person in the world that has an Instagram account around the planet will actually receive that post. I would like to know what picture you're going to send and what the comment's going to say.
So it would have to be a post with my family. And at the end of the day, if you don't have that and you don't have that love and that, that's what it's about. So, I mean, I can talk about work all day long.
So what's a picture of your family?
Probably just
3 children and your husband, correct?
Yeah.
And any animals?
Yeah, we have a cat.
You got the cat.
She hurt her arm when I did.
Okay. So what will it say?
Probably family first.
Family first?
Family first,
There it is. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, because that's everything.
That's great.
Yeah.